Well, the attacks on RFK Jr. are ramping up. Clearly, here at the end of the summer, something is going on. The mainstream media attacks are also increasing against Robert F. Kennedy Jr. It's almost as if it's somehow being coordinated, a coordinated effort to stop him in what he's doing at HHS. Just watch this.
Health and Human Services employees have penned a letter calling Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s actions destructive and dangerous. The letter to RFK Jr. and members of Congress is signed by more than 750 current and former employees from the Centers for Disease Control, National Institutes of Health, and other HHS agencies.
Right, so a group of HHS employees got together and penned a letter that he's damaging America? Okay. Just do a simple Google search for RFK Jr. and you're going to see every headline here at the end of summer attacking him. Look at this. Every one of these Google search results is an attack on RFK Jr. It's pretty remarkable. Kim Bright was MAHA before MAHA even existed. She's been a huge supporter of Bobby Kennedy's moves over at HHS to make America healthy again. She's the founder of Brightcore Nutrition, good friend of the show. And welcome back to the show, Kim. Good to have you back.
Hey, Clayton, thanks for having me back. Yeah, this is so sick. They're attacking such an incredible guy that's doing so much for us. And of course, I feel like they just want to keep their sick care system in place and they want to protect it. And it's not about, protecting us. They want to attack him, pull him down and keep their old machinery going, protect their profit.
And the machinery seems like it's completely tied to the mainstream media. Just look at this Politico headline, because it's really not, it doesn't seem like it's about protecting America's health at all, as if Politico cares about protecting America's health. It's about Big Pharma. A lot of these publications, we should be honest, get their money from Big Pharma. Here's the Politico headline: RFK Jr. attacks pediatricians group over vaccine recommendations. So they're trying to say that he's going after pediatricians, and we're trying to remove vaccines from the childhood vaccine schedule. So he's a villain. What do you make of this?
Oh, yeah, right. He's really a villain. If you go and look at their website, the AAP, the American Association of Pediatrics, they've got Friends of Children Fund on there. And guess who the top 4 donors are? If you give $50,000 or more, you are on the front page there. And they're the 4 pharmaceutical companies that make every single vaccination that's on the vaccination schedule, not from the CDC, but the old vaccination schedule. So the great thing, though, that they are trying to do is say, we're going to tell the doctors, we're going to tell the hospitals they have to stay on this because you are tearing down these children's health by not allowing these vaccinations. And he came back and he said, go ahead. CDC, if you don't follow what our recommendation on our official list is, guess what? Because the 1986 Vaccination Injury Act, you won't have any liability protection. So you better tell the people at the doctors and the hospitals that you're going to recommend doing all these other vaccinations that we've said not to, including COVID and the flu. You're not going to be protected.
That's a key point. So, of course, the 1986 vaccine, basically immunity protects all of these companies. And I just got finished reading Dr. Peter McCullough's newest book on vaccines and the mythology around vaccines. And that was such a key part of this entire process, is making sure that these big pharmaceutical companies have this immunity so that they cannot be sued. We're not going to roll out this massive measles vaccine to children if we're not protected from liability. And sure enough, as soon as they roll these things out, guess what starts happening? All sorts of complications, all sorts of problems. And they get funding and money from the federal government on top of it. So it's doubled up here. They not only don't they get sued, they also get money from the federal government.
Yeah, back in the good old days. Hopefully those days are gone now. And they weren't even testing properly.
Right. You can talk about that, right? Which is that they were not even actually going through the trials of process. And this is actually if you look at mRNA process right now, this is another big thing that, of course, RFK Jr. is going after, and they have a problem with this, is the mRNA technology. And this just came out this week. Cure for cancer? This is from the Times of Israel, or the Times of India, excuse me. New mRNA cancer vaccine wipes out tumors in mice, raises hope for universal treatment. And so here we go again with this mRNA technology. I'm curious what your take is on this. I know you've been a big championed to try to get this stopped. So maybe you can talk about this new revelation this week.
Well, again, why are we looking to put something else into our body that is man-made and that is, is another vaccination, that what they want it to do is trigger the immune system to react like a viral infection is occurring. What does that mean? That means like the tremendous inflammation in the body, and they're doing this to wake up the immunity in our body. And why not just do it naturally with things that promote our immunity? This is where I have a total different viewpoint on this, and they've done the trials on the mice, Clayton, and now they're going to begin the human trials. But if you think about it, this is again, like one of those apocalyptic, how do you say that? I can't say it right. Apocalyptic. Yeah. Zombie movies, where they think, oh, we're going to cure cancer. And the next thing you know, everybody's a zombie. So, I know everybody on your channel is well aware that, vaccines, there's a lot of dangers to vaccines. And they just did a study they published over in the European Heart Journal. And they did it they took people from 16 countries. There were 2,390, I believe. And they tested them for vascular stiffness. And they found out that people that had been exposed to COVID, whether they took the jab or whether they were just around people that took the jab, they got COVID, they aged in their vascular systems up to 5 years. And women were 5 years or more. And so the whole thing is you are as old as your arteries. So if you're a 35-year-old woman and you had COVID, guess what? You're now 40. So you're not safe, even if you didn't get the jab. There was the shedding. And then, of course, now it's in our food and our meats. These vaccinations have gone everywhere. And Clayton, I don't know if you know this, but it's not even prohibited to use the mRNA vaccinations in organic meats. I mean, look at what it says on the USDA website. And
this was shocking to me. I mean, I didn't know that part of it. Yeah, let's put this up here on the screen because I didn't know this, and this is something that RFK, again, this is why they're coming after RFK Jr., because he's trying to stop this, right? So you can have organic livestock. We covered this about a year and a half ago on the show. Okay, so fine, we're pulling back on the mRNA tech. We don't want that in our own bodies as human beings. But we find out that it's in our food supply and it's in our livestock, and there's no regulations to stop it. So so let me put this up on the screen. Here's the USDA's own website. What is this? What do you make of this?
Well, they're saying right here, since organic farmers can't routinely use drugs to prevent diseases and parasites, they mostly use animal selection and management practices, and only a few drugs, such as vaccines, are allowed. This is insane. I mean, if you raise your livestock right, people that raise their livestock before all the vaccinations came, they were fine because they did it, the right way. It's not impossible. But we can't avoid this. It's unavoidable. It's now in the meat and the air and the shedding, of course. And now they're saying that the next frontier for the mRNA could be healing our damaged organs, when all the evidence shows that it's done the opposite. And taking these vaccinations have damaged our organs. With the COVID, that affected so many people with their heart and with their lungs and with reproductive. It's crazy. So no matter how much they try and tell us that health's found in a vaccine, it's not. If you keep your body in a true biological balance, that's where true health starts, and it starts in the core. That's why I named the company Brightcore, because I want people to understand how important that core is and to keep that balance there of the good and the bad bacteria in our guts and in our microbiome. Because otherwise, when you don't have that good gut health, you get all kinds of chronic diseases, because gut health, you either are starting your health there in your gut or you are creating disease when you have an unhealthy gut.
And Bobby Kennedy last week, or about a week and a half ago, came out and said, we want physical fitness. We want obviously to focus on this, but the food supply, like we want children to eat food, healthy food, because it starts in our bodies. And he specifically is going after the U.S. dietary guidelines. and he went after, I think he specifically went after like Fruit Loops. And I mean, I've been, if there's one thing that I've been consistent on for years, even back to my days on Fox and Friends, was slamming how bad the cereal industry is and how bad it is for our children. I mean, I grew up in the 80s eating that stuff, and I put sugar in there into my Lucky Charms, into my Cheerios, and then I'd get to school, and at about 9 a.m. I felt like a huge sugar crash, and I'd be hungry. And you can see, I mean, I don't know if there's a connection to the obesity epidemic, but how bad. So he's out there focusing on this, and then the Associated Press comes out and they're basically saying, oh, it's misleading, fact focus, a look at RFK Jr.'s misleading claims on U.S. dietary guidelines and Fruit Loops. So you have the Associated Press and you have the mainstream media defending Fruit Loops?
Well, it's crazy. It's crazy, Clayton, because they already are packed with sugar. If you look at it, I was, the same way growing up. You were given a bowl of cold cereal, and then it had so much sugar in it already, and then you poured more sugar over it. And no wonder you're going to school and you can't think and you don't have any energy. You need protein. Kids need protein to be able to think. So they're attacking him. If anybody knows anything about what children need, it's protein. And so this is laughable. It's crazy. And this has got to stop. People have to educate themselves and know these things they're so ultra processed. They're not good for the children anyway. Get up, make them an egg, or hard boil some eggs the night before. Make them a protein shake. Do something, but don't send them off with cold cereal.
Oh, it's disgusting. It really is. And of course it goes back to, the Kellogg's, television commercials and Kellogg's lobby, like back in the day, stop eating eggs, stop eating bacon, the American Morning, the American Family Farm, stop doing that stuff. Eat cornflakes instead. I mean, the old the old black and white commercials. Eat cornflakes. Really?
And and use low-fat milk. Don't use butter. Use margarine. Look at all this stuff that's been proven. It's just not good for us. It's all bad. And it creates all kinds of problems when we're eating like that. Yes, indeed, it has something to do with obesity. It has to do with diabetes, heart disease. When you're not, it kills off the microbiome. Sugar is one of the main things that kill the good guys in our gut. And when the gut's not, when the gut's not well, and alcohol. Sugar and alcohol and smoking, you're going to end up with skin conditions, arthritis, respiratory diseases, and cognitive decline, anxiety, depression, if you don't keep that gut in good order.
What happens when you put sugar into the biome? Like what happens when it goes into the body? So like Fruit Loops or all this other garbage that RFK Jr. is going after.
Well, when you put poison things in like that, which it is, the body considers it a poison, your good bacteria will try and get out of the body. They will actually leave the body because you're creating a dangerous environment for them. They can't survive in that. And what flourishes is the fungus, the molds, the yeasts, and the parasites. You're creating such an environment for them they love. And then as they grow and flourish, then you have all these diseases, including cancer, that develop.
Well, RFK Jr. was just on my old show, Fox and Friends, the other day. And because it's so funny that first of all, God bless them for actually having him on, because all of the mainstream media right now, I mean, just look at this headline from the Bulwark. RFK Jr. can't fix America's health, and he isn't even trying. I mean, that's literally his entire mission. I don't know what they're talking about. But anyway, so he was on Fox and Friends kind of talking about his diet. And I saw this the other day and I thought, I bet you were probably flipping out when he said something in this. Watch.
Mainly meat and then fermented vegetable, anything fermented. So a lot of kimchi and all kinds of fermented vegetables. And it's really, I would say it's dramatically changed my, everything.
So there he goes. So he talks about kimchi, something we've been talking about for months here on the show. You must have been flipping out because, of course, your company is like built on kimchi. We're like, oh my God.
Yeah, I had the TV. I had the TV on actually when Fox interviewed him, and I was just jumping up and down. I was so excited. I'm like, yes, you go, Bobby, you go. Talk about that kimchi. It's totally changed your life. I loved it. But he's so right, because if you're going to ingest all that meat, think about it, Clayton. Here's why it's so important, and it must be combined with fermented vegetables. because meat is such a dense protein. Think about how much a cow has to eat in order to make a pound of meat. It's just like when you make cheese from milk, you have to, that milk, it takes a lot of milk to make a little tiny piece of cheese. So you're eating something very concentrated. When you eat kimchi, the fermented food, it helps break down all of that very sturdy protein. And you can eat things like sauerkraut, but don't expect to get the same benefits as if you're eating kimchi. So you can eat other fermented foods and vegetables, but kimchi is the king of fermented foods. There's so much science, Clayton, behind kimchi. And he knows this. He's studied, I'm sure he knows all of this, because there's over 900 different strains of probiotics, good guys, that you can't find in sauerkraut, you can't find in pickles, you can't find anywhere else. And the way that these ingredients are combined and the way they ferment, the process, it creates a wider diversity of all these beneficial bacteria strains. So kimchi's the king, and RFK Jr. knows it is. So this is great. And he eats it. So everybody should listen to him.
Well, and like I said, since I started taking your product, Kimchi One. It's been fantastic for me, and Natali is taking it. My mother-in-law takes it. My mom takes it separately because, not a lot of people like the taste of kimchi. I personally love the taste of kimchi. My team, Philip on my team here, loves the taste of kimchi. He eats like a can of it like a day. He loves it, but not everyone does. So when you created at Brightcore, you created the Kimchi One supplements. Can you talk about how you did it and why you did it?
Well, again, it goes back to, 50 years ago, I was introduced to kimchi, and my taste buds didn't like it at first, and the smell of it. And when I tried to teach people when I changed their diets up after consulting so many people, I'd try and have them, fix the kimchi themselves, but they wouldn't do it. And I wanted them to eat it every day because I knew all the benefits. But what we decided, let's put it in a capsule. Let's see if we can combine all the benefits or keep the benefits and put it in a capsule, because people will swallow capsules. They'll take 3 a day. So we made it, it's 100% in the United States of America. It's all natural and non-GMO. And here's the other thing, Clayton, a lot of people don't know, but when you make homemade kimchi and eat it every day, there's a tremendous amount of sodium in it, as well as when you buy the jarred kimchi at the stores. Lots of sodium. So people that have sodium problems, that's not good for them. What we did is we took the majority of the sodium out. So you can be guaranteed, if you have any kind of sodium restrictions, that you can still take these capsules and get all the benefits of the kimchi. And so many success stories, Clayton. People that had problems with their digestion, or they had gas coming out of both ends all the time and bloated, and their immune system was really down and they were getting sick all the time. They're not getting sick anymore. And people that struggle to lose weight, there's so many studies on obesity and how it reduces the waistline and the BMI. And people actually call us and tell us, I've lost weight and my waistline's been reduced. So, and the other great thing is, post-vaccination, from COVID, there were so many people that had different things going on. And after they start taking the Kimchi One, the brain fog's gone. They don't have the aches and pains. They can't identify where they were coming from. They don't have all kinds of problems with their heart and their blood pressure. So this is, great news for us and great news for everybody that's using it.
Yeah, I guess especially people suffering from like long COVID and so forth, like getting getting the biome back up and running. Let's put this up on the screen. If anybody wants to take advantage of this right now, you can get 25% off your order of Kimchi One. You were kind enough to give us a code for 25% off if they go to mybrightcore.com/redacted. And if they call you guys, you get up to 50% off, and we'll have a phone number and everything. 50% off and free shipping. We'll have the phone number and everything here for everyone, and we'll have it in the description as well. So So
Yeah,
50%
if they
off. You
call
guys
Clayton, if they call 888-404-6312, that's the phone number. And I'm an educator from the get-go. I want people to call in. I want to, we want to educate you. We want to answer your questions. That can't happen on the web. So we want to make sure this product's right for you. And if you call 888-404-6312, and you're one of the first 100 callers, we're going to give you a bottle of our new vitamin D3 that contains K2, vitamin K2 as well. It's supercharged, that vitamin D3 with the K2. So call 888-404-6312.
Awesome. So I'll get you out of here on this, Kim, which is the other strategy that the media is trying to go after RFK Jr. is they're trying to, and this actually really works against Trump. If Trump is embarrassed, then he tends to make a move. If Trump gets embarrassed, he tends to do something. So the media knows this strategy. And so they're trying to go after him now saying RFK Jr., here's Bloomberg headline, RFK Jr. is sabotaging President Trump's health legacy. So if Trump hears this and thinks, is my health legacy being sabotaged by one of my cabinet appointees? Like, this is dirty. This is dirty what they're trying to do. Do you think this is going to work?
No, I think President Trump's very brilliant man. I think he knows what RFK Jr. is doing. He's very aware. He's very aware of things, and they can try all they want, and they are dirty. The swamp is dirty. Clayton, you know that. And they'll use any tactic to try and stay in power, and they are losing it minute by minute, and they're really scrambling to stay in power. He is exposing everybody. I'm so excited about everything that's coming out, and just keep on keeping on, President Trump.
Yeah. No, we've been covering here on the show how he's been really trying to eradicate some of the demonic forces in Washington, D.C.
Definitely.
And really, really dark forces that have been holding on to the swamp for so long. Well, Kim, thank you for being a bright light in all of this. And thank you for focusing on the positive. We appreciate it. Thanks for joining us once again.
Thank you so much, Clayton. Have a beautiful, blessed day.
Thanks, you too.